And now, Legal Insights with Gus Anastopoulo Law Firm.
A parking lot might seem like low speed, low stakes driving, but it's actually one of the most common places for confusion, finger pointing, and costly mistakes. So when two cars collide between the lines, who's really at fault? Time to find out on this week's Legal Insight with Gus Anastopoulo of Gus Anastopoulo Law Firm. Happy to have you back.
Happy to be back, Leyla.
Okay, so no traffic lights in a parking lot. Who tends to have the right of way, or does it just depend on the situation?
So typically the person that is backing up always has to yield. You know, there's no question about that. It's if they're backing up, they've got to yield to the cars that are passing. Common scenario that usually happens though, two cars backing up at the same time. Yeah. The default's 50-50, but it typically doesn't stop there. So as far as who has the right of way, typically it's going to be the larger lanes, the lanes that are coming in and out of the parking lot, whereas the smaller lanes, the lanes that are between the areas between the parking spaces, they have to yield.
Okay, so when two cars are backing out at the same time, then how do you decipher? Is it a 50-50 issue?
Typically it defaults to 50-50. Now but it doesn't stop there, right? It's going to turn on, who had the first, who had the clear sight, who could have applied the brakes when it became obvious, who began backing first. So again, the default is usually 50-50, but it doesn't end there. And
then when you talk to the insurance companies, he said, she said. So how do you then communicate with the insurance company when you know maybe the other person was really truly at fault?
So, couple things. First off, if it's a public parking lot, officer, you want to get a police report and do that. Now, there are scenarios where it may happen on private property, for instance, gated apartment complex, maybe a private business parking lot, in which case the officer in that instance won't have jurisdiction, so you won't make a report. Now, what you want to do in that scenario is, of course, do the typical things. Take pictures, any witnesses around, get that. And a real critical one is going to be getting the video surveillance. Most of the time, if you're in these areas, there's going to be video surveillance. So you want to move on that quickly, and ultimately, because the dent on your car is going to stay, but the footage is not.
That's right. That's right. And do you recommend? A lot of people, they've been getting dash cam cameras. So is it something worth getting for all of us, just to always have one of these dash cameras either in the front and in the back?
Yeah, certainly.
And they keep rolling, right? So even when you're not in the car.
Absolutely. So yeah, most vehicles, they do have that now. But certainly when you're backing up, you want to use that. You want to use your mirrors and also use your head. So keep in mind. But yes, having that always helps. And if you don't have that, making sure that you check with the business, or even, I've had instances where there was an ATM machine close by, getting the camera footage through that way.
Oh, that's really clever. Oh, so you really look for just about anything that's out there.
Yep.
Okay, all right. And then what if the driver does leave the scene, you see a dent in your car that wasn't there before? Obviously, you want to go back, you want to see if you can find the surveillance, but typically speaking, gone are the days that people don't leave a note on your windshield anymore saying, oops, sorry, here's my number.
Yeah, and unfortunately, so the law says in that instance, you're supposed to leave a note, and if you don't, it's a hit and run. So in that scenario, of course, like I said, witnesses, camera, but a big one is you want to fill out what's called an FR 309 form. It's a form through the DMV. You need to make one of those within 15 days after the incident. And if you're able, also get a police report if not, pictures and a 309 report is going to help you overcome those obstacles if you get into it with your insurance company.
Okay, and what if it's a physical injury? So what if you accidentally hit someone as they were crossing over from one side to the other with your car? I mean, does that change things as well, or?
Ultimately the driver's almost always at fault in that scenario with the pedestrians. And so, whether you're a pedestrian or a driver, you just need to assume that the other person is distracted. So the law always, in parking lots, it basically is taken into account that you should be driving slow enough to stop in those instances to hopefully prevent that. Because if you're 3 seconds in a car, that's a full car length. That's a child darting out in front of you. So ultimately that's why you gotta take that into account.
Okay, one last question. We all go to the grocery store and there's baskets everywhere and they go rolling off, or if someone's being careless and then they scratch you with a basket, a buggy as they say in the South, how do you then make a claim on that, or can you?
So the insurance policy, it's personal to the person. If the person's unknown in that scenario, you may be able to make a claim through your insurance company. Okay. Potentially, you know, depending on the circumstances, it may come back on the business in that scenario, depending on if an employee, whomever was the one, if you're able to track them down, and
prove it.
Exactly.
All right. For anyone who wants more information, where should they go?
They can find us online, guslawse.com. Give us a call, 843-310-5555.
Fantastic. Great to see you again,
Thanks,
Gus. Thank
Leyla.
you. We'll be back after this.
This has been Legal Insights with Gus Anastopoulo Law Firm.